good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a new episode of The Giving Hand. Today, we're going to have a special guest. She is from the animal rescue team, the KAREQ8 team. She's going to talk about their missions, their tasks, challenges, and much more. So please, dear viewers, stay tuned.
Not only that, but after intensive care, they make sure these animals are received by people who would adapt and welcome them to their home and offer them comfortable living conditions. CARE advises you to contact them upon seeing an injured or a stray animal, keeping it in a safe place until their team is able to reach it and give it help. Some may ask, what's the point of taking these animals into our homes, feeding them and calling them our pets? And all what we ask is to be around them. Why is that?
And we are back again, dear viewers, with our guest for today, SARA Al-Awadi. She's from KAREQ8, the animal rescue team. So hello and good evening, Sarah.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for having me.
You are most welcome. Actually, we knew some information about you from last episode.
Yes.
But for today, we'd like to know more about yourself. So could you please introduce yourself to our dear viewers?
Yes, my name is SARA Al-Awadi. I'm a volunteer with KAREQ8, which is an animal rescue and adoption volunteer group. And I've been a volunteer with them since 2014, so around 8 years now.
8 years with KAREQ8. So how actually you came up with this idea?
I'm only a volunteer with the group, but the group was established in 2013. And the main idea or the aim of this group was and still is to raise awareness in regards to animal rights and how to take care of animals and such. And I've always been fond of animals, so I decided to join them. And my first day was me going to adoption day, which was something we used to do every Friday.
Yes.
So that was my first day. I went and I talked to the person in charge, and I told her I'd like to join, and she handed over a leash and told me to, okay, you're in. That's how you help, you know. So I was looking
directly
after a dog. Yes.
Wow, that's basically amazing. So anyone can join this team, exactly?
Yes, anybody who's interested to help can join, and depending on their age or depending on what they can help with, I'm sure there will be something that they can do for this.
Are there too many members in this team?
No, I would say we're about 15 members. Yes, we've had some members since the beginning of the group.
Yes.
We can say they're the founding members. And we've had some people join later on, and some people joined for a short period of time because they needed to, it was like a requirement for their university or school or something like that.
Yes. So how basically the procedures are happening actually in your team? Like, is it like finding a stray cat, stray dog, just like grabbing them and put them in the shelter in your house?
Actually, we have to give priority to animals that are in need, so animals that are injured or sick.
So any kind, not any kind of stray dogs or stray cats?
Mostly cats and dogs here in Kuwait, but actually we've had some other kinds of rescues like rabbits, ducks. We actually had a camel at one point, but
camel.
Unfortunately she did not make it, and a horse as well, but he passed away. But mostly cats and dogs because they're the most common in Kuwait.
Yes.
And of course we wish to take in all animals because we don't think it's a safe place for them to stay on the street, but because of limited resources and limited space, we have to give priority to animals that are sick or injured.
Yes.
And usually either one of the volunteers finds one or someone does, and they send us a photo or a video, and they tell us where the cat or dog is, and we try to find a volunteer to go as soon as possible.
That's amazing. So you said like 15 member actually.
Yeah. Yes.
So each one of those member has its own task, isn't it?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, we all try to help with the rescue, and that's the most important part of what we do.
Yes.
And there are other things that we can help with in the meantime. So in between rescues, some volunteers help with, for example, managing a social media account, which is one of the things that I do.
Yes.
Fostering, for example, which is keeping a cat or a dog for a limited time until we find a forever home for them. Those are some of the things that volunteers do, other than rescuing and transportation and such.
So basically, you are saving some cats and dogs in your home, isn't it?
Personally, I don't have. I mean, I have my own cats, but
Yes.
I'm not able to take in more. But a lot of the volunteers have taken in so many. They have so many cats. Some are theirs and some are rescues.
Okay.
So they're with them until they're vaccinated and treated and neutered or spayed, and then we work on trying to find them a forever home.
That's really a noble work, actually.
Thank
They
you.
are keeping those strays and injured dogs in their home, actually.
Yes.
So does really, like grabbing those dogs, stray dogs and cats, can really transmit some kind of disease to the human?
No, actually, a lot of people think that they can, but no, none of the viruses or illnesses that cats or dogs have are contagious to humans. Even I remember when the pandemic COVID first started, some people thought that they can have it and they can transmit it to humans, but there is actually a coronavirus that cats have that's different from the COVID-19 virus that humans get. So none of the illnesses are contagious to us. The only thing maybe that someone can get from a cat is something very simple, which is like fungus or ringworm, which is a skin condition.
Yes.
And it can be treated with the cream. It's
so
nothing.
let's say it is safe.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's safe.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about another aspect, which is the people who are actually owning some wild animal, let's say like a lion. So what's your point of view of that?
First of all, it's illegal. So people who do it, they don't do it through official channels, and there will be consequences, and it's very dangerous. I mean, you're putting your family's lives in danger and other people's lives, because unfortunately, a lot of the times this animal escapes, and we've had some stories here in Kuwait of a lioness walking on the street.
We've between the houses.
I mean, so it's unethical. That's another thing, because this is a wild animal. It's not a pet. It's not supposed to be kept at home, and it belongs in its own environment and habitat. So I am very much against owning wild animals.
So what do you think the solution? I'm pretty sure that the guy or the girl that owning, let's say, a lion, for example, she loves lions and she wants to raise one. So, and you say it is really illegal and it's really dangerous. Maybe the lion can escape and go to the school for children. It's really dangerous. So what is the solution that for the people who really have that hobby to raising a wild animal?
I mean, we as volunteers, we love animals, and we love all animals. I've always loved animals, and I love big cats. I love lions, tigers, and the whole cat family. But loving them is one thing, and owning them is a completely different thing. I mean, just because you love this animal doesn't mean that you should own it. Because again, if you love it so much, actually, you shouldn't put the animal through this. You shouldn't take the animal from its environment and put it in a house, and it's
right point.
Yes, and if you love them so much and you want to see them, for example, of course I don't recommend zoos. I'm not a big fan, and I'm against the idea, because also they're not in their natural environment. But for example, I mean, I enjoy watching documentaries. There are places that you can go to that are sanctuaries. They're not zoos, so they don't keep animals that don't belong in cages, and they expect people to pay just to see them.
Yes.
There are sanctuaries where they keep animals in their natural environment and habitat, and they try to, for example, save the species from going extinct.
Exactly.
So those places you can go and you can see them, and you're not doing anything unethical. You're supporting a good cause, actually. So
So
I
great,
recommend that for people who like lions or any kind of wild animal.
Yes, really great solutions, Sarah. Great point. We shouldn't be selfish and put
Yes.
ourselves and other people in risk, especially those animals. So let's talk about adoption. Like, let's say someone wants to adopt a cat, an injured cat that one of your members that kept in their house. Can they do that, actually?
Yes, but I just want to clarify something. At the first stage, usually when we rescue an injured or sick animal, the first stage is to take them to the hospital. We don't take them to the house directly, because especially if we have other animals, because they can infect each other.
Yes.
So first we take them to the hospital because most of the time it's an emergency and it really needs to go to the hospital as soon as possible.
Yes.
Sometimes, it's run over by a car and it needs operation. So they are treated at the hospital, they are vaccinated, they are spayed or neutered, and then after that, yes, people can apply to adopt, and we interview them. We ask them a few questions, and if they pass, they can start by fostering. We have like a 2-week foster period just to make sure everything is okay.
Yes.
The cat or the dog is settled and they're still sure of their decision to adopt, and then yes, they can.
That's really interesting processing. We're going to learn more about KAREQ8, Sarah, but dear viewers, let's watch this report together and then we'll be right back to you.
Psychologically speaking, human beings have a desire for responsibility and control. They need to feel important, and they need to feel that something is dependent on us is an empowering feeling. But we do not keep animals because we are selfish, although the psychological aspect could be emotive. But the truth is, there is something even deeper. It's not that we just own our pets, we love them. We create mutual bonds with them, and we may call them best friends, because they do reciprocate back to us beautifully and playfully.
And we are back again, dear viewers, with our guest Sarah Al-Awadi from KAREQ8 team. So, dear Sarah, we've been talking about the adoption. So I'm pretty sure some people need to do some preparation before adopt any kind of pet. So tell us more about that.
Of course, to people who might not know, cats and dogs can live up to 15 years, some more or less, sometimes a bit less, sometimes even more. So they need to know that it's a lifetime commitment. I mean, when someone adopts from us, we expect the cat or dog to stay with them for the rest of their life.
Yes.
So they need to be prepared they need to be financially prepared also, because there will be plenty of checkups, even the usual ones like vaccinations and things like that. And they're just like us, they're bound to get sick sometimes or feel unwell. And of course, the older they get, the more likely they are to develop illnesses.
Yes.
And of course, that requires a lot of care and patience and expenses. Of course, depending on the case, sometimes you need to also give medication at home. You need to take to the vet frequently, like a few times a week for injections and things like that. Some people learn to give injections by themselves. You need to think about, if you travel, where are you going to keep the pet? Who's going to look after them? Or if you're going to keep them at a pet hotel, things like that.
Yes.
So yes, it's a big commitment, and you need to think about it thoroughly before you make this decision.
It's really great point, really huge responsibility. It's not an easy to adopt a cat or a dog or any kind of pet. Yes. So, Sarah, what is the difference between adoption and selling those animals?
Buying and selling is something that, it's like I'm very much against it, the trade of animals, and I think I speak on behalf of the group when I say this, because it's not a product, it's a living thing. And unfortunately, people who buy and sell, they care more about the money than the pet's health, or the person, if they're good enough or not, if they're going to be taking care of this pet or not, if they're serious. They don't ask, for example, if they've had pets before and they lost them, or they sold them, or things like that. So I encourage people to adopt instead, because there are so many animals that are found on the street and they're in more need of homes, instead of, you know, encouraging breeders and shops that just buy and sell. I mean, why not support a good cause and actually help animals in need?
Yes, that's amazing. So, Sarah, can people actually adopt from outside Kuwait through your campaign, or let's say through your team?
Yes, actually, we've had so many adoptions abroad since we started. Dogs and cats, both, especially special needs, like, for example, one-eyed or three-legged or paralyzed rescues.
Yes.
Yes, mostly the people from the US and Canada have adopted many rescues from us. So,
wow.
Yeah, thankfully we've had adoptions from here and abroad as well.
So what are the procedures to adopt from outside Kuwait, Sarah?
It depends on the country, but mostly there is some paperwork that we need to do here.
Yes.
For example, if the country requires a certain vaccination, we have to make sure that the dog or the cat is vaccinated. And not too long ago, like they have certain requirements. For example, the rescue's last vaccination shouldn't be more than 1 year old, for example, and they're supposed to be spayed or neutered and microchipped as well. Most of the times we've had adoptions abroad, those were the requirements, and then either they travel with a person under a person's name,
yes,
or they are sent as cargo, and then someone from that country takes them from the airports.
So how many adoptions you've had so far outside Kuwait?
I don't know, but there are a lot, thankfully, because we've been doing this for a long time, and we've had so many rescues. I can't give you a number exactly, but I would say more than at least more than 100. I mean.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
They can contact you directly by your website or by a social media account?
Yes, we have an email. We usually post it under certain posts,
yes,
and they can also contact us on Instagram.
Can you mention your website?
Yes, we have a website, KAREQ8.org.
Yes.
And we're on social media. It's all the same username, KAREQ8. So KAREQ8 on Instagram and Twitter, but Instagram is the most active platform, and also KAREQ8, KARE, and then Kuwait, the word Kuwait at gmail.com is also an email that can reach us on.
That's amazing. Well, I hope through our show, The Giving Hand, some people will actually have more adoption.
I hope so too.
I hope so.
Yes.
So, Sarah, let's talk about if someone actually lost their pet.
Yes.
So what they can do actually?
I mean, our account and as well as other accounts,
yes,
they post about lost pets. So that's one thing that can be done, because maybe someone will see the post or will see the cat or dog, and then they will find the number and they'll contact the person. And sometimes they're reunited with their family.
Yes.
Sometimes putting the litter box and food outside actually helps them come home. But there are some things that people can do to prevent this from happening. For example, if they have, I mean, I don't recommend allowing the cat or dog to go outside, because a lot of people say that, you know, it's okay, and they let them go and they roam around the street.
And they got lost.
And they come back, yes. So they get lost, or even worse, I mean, they can get run over by a car or attacked by another animal or a person. So I don't recommend this. But if it happens, yes, I mean, putting the litter box outside can help, and
yes,
posting, of course, on social media, and having them microchipped also can help, because it can prove later on, if someone finds them, that this pet is actually yours.
That's amazing. So, Sarah, obviously that you love what you are doing, which is helping those animals, rescue them. So, what actually that changed in you, like your perspective in life, the voluntary work, especially in the KAREQ8?
I'm very proud of this group, and that I'm a volunteer with them.
Yes.
It's a very noble cause, and not many people pay attention to what's happening to animals in Kuwait. And I feel like, I mean, even though it's great that there are so many rescue groups now, but still there's so much that can be done, but it's not being done.
Yes.
So volunteering has helped me in so many ways. It helped me learn more skills because being a volunteer, even if it's an animal rescue and adoption group, you communicate with people and you coordinate, because I'm usually the one who talks to new volunteers and I talk to them about what we do. So when we have an emergency and I can't go, for example, I'm the one who communicates with them and I try to coordinate. So it helps you. It helps like learn teamwork and communication with people, and also it enhances compassion and mercy and just love for animals and life, the environment and even plants. Just that, you know, teaches you that all life is precious.
Yes, in addition, making yourself proud and making your family proud and even your society proud, Sarah. So you mentioned about volunteers. You are helping those volunteers to join your team, let's say. So let's talk about the volunteers in general. Mm-hmm. Do you think that they can learn like some perspective in their lives? You mentioned about yourself. What about the other volunteers in the team? Do you think they can learn more about that?
Yes, I think they can also learn how to, I mean, of course, because our work involves animals, so they can learn first aid or how to rescue animals, how to handle them, because sometimes when they're injured or like, for example, there's something broken, we need to carefully move them. So that's one of the things that they learn being a volunteer in this group. And they learn more about animals all the time, you know, things about the kinds of food that are good and that they're not, all kinds of things. But also they learn, like I said, they can learn more about people, how to deal with people, how to communicate with people, because when people reach out to adopt, we communicate with them and we deal with different kinds of people. Sometimes they're not very understanding of our conditions. Yes, both. I mean, they learn more about how to deal with animals and people.
That's really great, Sarah. We're gonna learn more about KAREQ8. But dear viewers, let's watch this report together and then we'll be right back to you.
Some find these helpless creatures inferior to human beings, which then makes them vulnerable for actions such as cruelty and abandonment. However, it's not superiority that makes us human, neither our brains or the ability to speak, but it's our compassion and our hearts. KARE is a non-profit organization filled with compassionate people, offers services to take care of abandoned and injured cats and dogs.
And we are back again, dear viewers, with our guest, SARA Al-Awadi. So, Sarah, we know there's like people complaining actually, and they have some problems with the stray animals, especially dogs. They see them around their children, the schools and the streets, and they're starting fighting them. They start poisoning them. So what is your point of view about that?
Of course, I mean, I'm against poisoning them or harming them in any way, because unfortunately some people also shoot them with guns and they throw things at them, and we've had actually many cases of dogs or cats being shot, and many of them didn't make it, or if they did,
yes.
Yeah, if they did, they get paralyzed and there's no cure.
Yes.
I understand that there should be a solution for stray dogs and cats. There's supposed to be a cooperation between, for example, the Public Authority of Agriculture and Fish Resources and the Environment Public Authority.
Yes.
And also, it would be nice to have cooperation between them and between volunteer groups, animal rescue and adoption volunteer groups. So if that happens, there could be control over the population of dogs. There's supposed to be campaigns to spay and neuter them to limit the numbers, and for cats also. So if that happens, I mean, the results will not be quick. Other countries have started this campaign, these kinds of campaigns, and it took maybe 5 years to notice a difference, but it's still something. I mean, we have to start to eventually see the results. So I think if we do that, it will be great. Also, I mean, usually the dogs are afraid themselves. They're usually not harmful, they're just scared. Maybe they think that this is their home, so they think the people are a threat, or they think that people will harm them. But ideally, there shouldn't be so many animals on the streets, because also it's not safe for them. And we see them run over by cars all the time, and now people poison them, and it's really bad.
So what are your solutions, Sarah, to spread awareness to stop those people who are poisoning and shooting those animals? How to spread awareness to teach them how to help those stray dogs and how to make them safe and rescue them?
I think we try our best to raise awareness through our social media channels, and I think people need to learn this from their families, learn this from their schools.
Yes.
Because, you know, not everybody has this in themselves, in their character, unfortunately, but it's very important to try to teach children from a young age to be kind and merciful. I mean, our religion teaches us this, and actually we have a law against animal cruelty, but unfortunately it's not being implemented. So people are getting away with hurting animals or killing animals, and they're not being punished.
Yes.
So I also think that the laws need to be more strict, and the law that already exists need to be implemented.
Yes, well said, Sarah. So you mentioned about the school. Starting from the school, did you manage to do any visits for schools to do some sessions and classes for children?
Yes, actually, many schools have asked us to go and talk to students of different ages, sometimes with animals if it's allowed. And that's one of the ways actually through which we can raise awareness. So yes, we've had some visits in schools.
And it will be a great idea actually to teach them actually how to rescue those animals, starting from watching them in the streets, isn't it?
Yes. I mean, yes, it would be nice to do. I mean, I think during our visits before, we might have talked about what to do if someone sees an injured animal or a sick animal, especially maybe older students. But yes, that's definitely one of the things we need to focus on.
What are your hopes and wishes, Sarah, for your team in future?
I hope for more acknowledgement from official or public institutions or authorities in the country, and support, cooperation, like I said, between us and between those authorities to hopefully have people move towards adoption instead of buying animals from shops and markets, and also to find a solution for the stray animals situation, and try to limit the numbers and protect them from any danger.
Hopefully, inshallah. Well, I'm going to have to say big appreciation and big thanks to you, Sarah, and to your whole team, and I wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you so much for having us.
You are most welcome. So, dear viewers, we reached the end of our episode for today. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. See you for the next one, and have a nice evening.